if you hit certain criteria. Now, right off the bat, what exactly is an in-service withdrawal? Well, this would mean that you're still working for your employer. A TSP plan is set up for federal employees, meaning it's just like a 401k account, but a 401k account is set up through private institutions, private employers, and it's a type of retirement account set up for those employees of those private companies. So a TSP is known as a Thrift Savings Plan, is just set up through a federal employee a federal employer to their federal employees. So it's a very similar type of retirement account or retirement bucket. So when someone's working for that federal employer, it could be a whole slew of different positions. What they're essentially doing is they're taking a percentage of their salary, they're placing it aside into a type of retirement bucket. This retirement bucket is deemed a thrift savings plan. Now, their savings plan is different than other types of qualified accounts, but the most important aspect is that this is deemed a qualified retirement account and it's qualified through the IRS, meaning that there's certain things, if you were to ever go and take monies from this TSP account and roll it over into other types of accounts, they have to be qualified to qualify, just like a TSP rolled over into an IRA contract. So what happens is an individual will be working for a company and they say, okay, I'm not going to retire till I'm in my 60s, till I'm like age 65, and I'm currently age 62. Can I take a withdrawal from this type of TSP account? Because I understand that there are some negatives with keeping my monies into this TSP account. And that's essentially what you have to be mindful of. And this is known as an in-service withdrawal, meaning that you're still working for the company, but you want to try to have some sort of withdrawal that comes out of that type of account. Now, typically, if you're in your 50s and you're still working for the company, they're not going to allow you to do that. So one of the major criteria is making sure if you hit age 59 and a half, there's certain stipulations, or age 60, there's certain stipulations that they say, yes, based upon the dollar amount that's in your current TSP account, you're able to have X amount percentage of your retirement bucket of this TSP monies that you could either roll over, you could take as a withdrawal while you're still working for that company. Another way to receive those dollars is if you were deemed retired. Then you have access to your TSP monies, and then you could take withdrawals. But the in-service is going to be very important because that means that you're still working for the carrier, but you understand that the certain negatives that do that can impact your TSP account, you just want to preserve as much dollars as possible from that TSP, roll it over into a specifically designed IRA contract, or take out the withdrawal, throw it into your checking account if you ever need those as additional, retirement income or just additional income for that year. So let me clear up this. So the very basic understanding is, yes, if you hit a 59 and a half rule, age 60 rule, essentially they allow, a lot of the federal employer would allow you to pull money from that TSP account, but you have to make sure that it's done in a specific way. You could either take it in the form of a withdrawal, or if you want to just have some more safety on those TSP monies and avoid the negatives that exist with the TSP accounts, there's ways that you could roll them over to specifically designed IRA contracts. The number one impact is trying to pull money from an account that could potentially go down. And a lot of times you have advisors out there that they try to talk about the average rate of return, how well your TSP account did. It averaged 5%, it averaged 10%, it averaged 0%, in a given years. If you were to go and have an example, I use this example a lot, it says, let's say if your account lost 50% one year and then gained 50% the next year, on paper, the average of this would have been what? 0%, right? But if we go and we place a number there, let's go and take $100,000 as just an easy example. This account would have went down $50,000 and then it would have went up $75,000, and therefore your actual rate of return would have equaled minus 25% or minus $25,000 off of those 2 years, even though everything on paper showed you that the average was 0%. So you don't want to go off of averages. What you want to do, or what I recommend as a very safe play, whether that's safe income play, safe conservative growth play, whatever the case may be, is eliminate these negatives, eliminate that downward market loss entirely from your portfolio. Once you hit age 59 and a half, you have the power to do that. You could do it through the form of a withdrawal or a form of a rollover, because while you're still working at your federal as a federal employee. So the problems with leaving it into the TSP account and trying to pull out the withdrawals is you're taking money from an account that could potentially go down. If you go and you have an example, And this is one of the things I explain a lot with not only TSP accounts, but just a lot of types of many retirement accounts is the reverse dollar cost averaging effect. And what this says is it's a compound of negative aspects that work against your portfolio, such as fees, downward market loss, and then the last one is income. If you're pulling from a TSP related account, it's typically involved with some sorts of mutual funds. So those mutual funds are going to come with a specific cost associated with that account. So that means that any time, if you think of your money, your TSP account in the form of a bucket, well, the fees are already a couple holes poked on the bottom of this bucket. So these are fees that have to get paid each and every year that you have your dollars with that TSP account. On top of it, if you're trying to leverage, because you're saying, well, I understand there's mutual funds that I have access to, but I want to leverage a financial advisor to direct me on which mutual funds to choose. Typically, that advisor is going to charge you a fee known as a wrap fee, an advisor fee. So let's say between the TSP related fees, mutual fund related fees, and the advisor fees, that's averaging between 1% and 2%. That's a negative that's slowly coming out of your bucket year by year. First off, there's no guarantee. All because you're using a financial advisor doesn't mean that that's guaranteed that this bucket is always going to give you a positive interest credit. Because just like in 2008, you had individuals that had an average loss to their portfolio of 57%. These were portfolios that were managed through financial advisors as well. Some accounts lost worse than 57%. Some of them did better than 57% loss. But, the bottom line is nothing's guaranteed. So if you have a downward loss on top of the fees, that's a negative aspect. In 2008, I'm not saying that everything's going to be as drastic as a 57% loss, but it could, obviously impact that significantly, even something as small as a 10% loss. If you're having these losses when you're trying to pull money from these accounts, it has that compound effect that is just dwindling down your account. So if we could avoid the fees, if we could avoid the downward market losses, that's already taking care of two separate pieces of the puzzle. Now with income, this is going to be specific to what your situation is. You could set up specifically designed plans because you're eligible once you hit that 59.5 rule to go and roll it over into specifically designed IRA contracts that are either very liquid, meaning that you have full access to this money, or you could have it set up into something that has more restricted liquidity but gives you higher benefits with it, such as lifetime income, such as safe, consistent growth without any lifetime income, associated with those accounts. So at the very bottom line, the most important aspect is to understand, eliminate the negatives, and set up a customized plan specifically for your goals. When I talk about customization, what exactly does that mean? Well, you could have a scenario where a person's 62 years old, they understand that now they have access to their TSP accounts. It could be a portion of it, it could be the full TSP account that they could then roll over specifically to their goal, specifically to what they want to see out of that TSP account. Some individuals just like to see that safe, consistent growth. They don't want to pay the mutual fund related fees, the TSP related fees, and have any downward market losses. So there's a way that you could take a portion of those dollars or all the dollars and roll them over into a specifically designed IRA contract that allows you to not have those fees, not have those advisor fees, not have that downward market loss. So that's one aspect if you just want to have that safe, consistent growth. What I've seen more time and time again is a lot of times the federal employees, they have a type of pension income that could come to them, and then they're leveraging their TSP accounts as a supplemental to this pension. So they have two different streams of income coming to them. So you might have a person that's 62 years old that says, okay, I want to retire when I'm 65, and that's essentially when I'm going to draw down my pension and when I'm going to trigger my pension income. So therefore, you could go take a portion or all of your TSP account, roll it over into a specifically designed IRA contract that will provide you with lifetime income in those 3-year deferrals. Something that you could leverage your dollars, your TSP monies, make sure that it's safe, preserved, protected, and then it triggers off some sort of additional personal pension aspect with those TSP monies, because what we're doing is we're taking the TSP, we're rolling into a specifically designed IRA contract meant for that 62-year-old, whether it's male or female, that's going to determine what type of analysis comes back, and then that's going to be maximized out some sort of lifetime income that they can leverage, from those plans. So there's many options that a person has available to them if they've hit those years of service or if they hit that in-service withdrawal requirement. such as the H59 and a half, to allow that better leverage, to allow that more peace of mind, to eliminate the negatives, eliminate the reverse dollar cost averaging effect, and make sure that they're placing their monies into something that could correlate specifically to their withdrawals. Because a lot of times you have somebody that has a TSP account, they hit this age of 59 and a half, or they're 62 years old, they try to take out withdrawals and they end up outliving that money. Reason being is because there's not enough education out there to say how much money should I actually pull from these accounts, because they're still related into the mutual fund related accounts. So if the mutual funds come back positive, well then that's fine. You could take out 4% per year, 4.5% per year, and try to go off of something known as the prudent man's rule. But majority of times, whenever that market goes down, and what we've been seeing constantly throughout the more recent years is the constant volatility. So anytime the market goes down, you're going to have to take out less money, and it's just a huge question mark. So when doing the rollover from a TSP into a specifically designed IRA contract, it gives you those specific guarantees that you can't outlive this money, that it's going to, that your money, your account value is still preserved and protected, meaning that even if you trigger lifetime income and you pass away within a couple of years, whatever's remaining in your account value would go to your beneficiaries. If you keep living and living and living and living and living, well then the companies are on the hook to keep paying you lifetime income, just like how your pension plan works. So, there's so many different ways to set those things up properly. What makes us unique at Afasi Financial Group is for each person that gives us a call, we help them try to figure out what their goals are, help them understand what they currently have, what they might want to accomplish, and then we try to set up customized plans specific to their needs. So if it is the TSP and they're looking, should I pull out an in-service withdrawal? And there's times where you shouldn't be rolling it over into an IRA contract. If you want to have more flexibility, more liquidity, access to those funds, and you understand it might be for a specific goal, saying, oh, okay, I want to purchase a car, I want to purchase a house, whatever the case may be, and you don't want to have a set up goal or set up plan, then there's no reason to go and do the rollover and conduct those different bells and whistles with these types of plans. But at the end of the day, you just want to have that peace of mind of what you're doing, the leverage that you're implementing is maximized. And that's one of the things that we use. We use a tool known as the Retire Sharp Planning System, where we have a case design team that goes through over hundreds of the different carriers, contracts, strategies, scenarios that on average we go through over 1,200 different implementations, different calculations before we give our top 3 recommendations for each person that calls in. So, it just makes us a little bit unique, but at the end of the day, you have to be educated. You have to understand what are the pros, what are the cons with these types of plans, and you want to be confident. You want to make sure if you're placing a single dollar into a type of retirement account, or you're taking out a single dollar, what exactly is the impact it does for your livelihood, for your retirement? Because with retirement, you don't have chances to make mistakes. You only have one chance to get things done correctly and right. So this is why we go through so many different softwares and strategies and concepts to make sure you're educated first and foremost, and then before we give a recommendation. So we are A+ rated on the Better Business Bureau. We've never had any bad reviews. We've always had good reviews. We've never had any complaints, and it's because of our methodical process. I want to thank you very much for watching this video. At any point in time, if you found value in this video, feel free to give our 1-800 number a call, 1-800-566-1002, and we look forward to dealing with you. Once again, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Retire Sharp, so you have access to the most updated videos, and thank you so much for watching.